Hi, New Jersey Green Party. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you. I'm Howie Hawkins. I'm seeking the Green Party nomination for president, and I'm a retired Teamster. Before that, I worked in construction, but really what I've been about is being involved in these social movements for the kind of changes we need. I got started in the 1960s in the San Francisco Bay Area where I was coming up. Civil rights, anti-Vietnam War, ecology, and became convinced at that time that we need an independent working class party for participatory democracy, democratic socialism, and ecology. So my first party was the Peace and Freedom Party. Peace in Vietnam, freedom was a civil rights slogan. That was 1968. I supported Dr. Benjamin Spock on the People's Party ticket in 72 and 76. And then Barry Commoner on the Citizens Party, our most prominent environmental scientist at the time, in 1980. In 1984, because I had helped organize the Anti-Nuclear Clamshell Alliance, I was invited to the first National Green Party organizing meeting in St. Paul, Minnesota in August 1984. And my message to that meeting was, we can't build a party out of a presidential campaign. We got to go out and organize local groups and build this thing from the bottom up, starting in local politics. And that's what we proceeded to do for the next dozen years. We organized local green groups all across the country. So by 1996, when Ralph Nader was willing to let us put his name on the ballot for president, he didn't really campaign, we got him on the ballot in over 30 states. And that laid the basis for the 2000 campaign to put the Green Party on the map nationally. So I've been involved ever since that 1984 meeting in the Green Party as an activist and organizer. And the Green Party in New York has run me 3 times for governor. And each time we got enough votes to get a ballot line for the Green Party. In 2014, we got 5% of the vote. And Governor Cuomo, who had wanted to run up the vote to get ready to run for president, he wanted to get more votes than his father, Mario Cuomo, ever got, more than he got in 2010, and he got less. And he had to see what we were talking about to try to get those votes that we had got. So we got a ban on fracking. We got a $15 minimum wage. We got paid family leave. And that shows that we don't have to win the office to have a big impact on these elections. And so that's what we're trying to do in this election. We have 2 major goals. One is to put green solutions into the national debate and make the whole political system, the media, deal with them. And the other is to build the Green Party. So among the leading issues that I am raising are 3 life or death issues: climate, inequality, and the new nuclear arms race. To deal with the climate crisis, I'm calling for an eco-socialist Green New Deal. I was the first candidate in this country to run on a Green New Deal in 2010, running for governor of New York. And what we're calling for, and why we call it the eco-socialist Green New Deal, is we need to take over the energy, transportation sectors and have a big public sector in manufacturing so we can transform this economy to 0 to negative greenhouse gas emissions and 100% clean energy by 2030. Because that's what the climate science and the carbon budgets the scientists have produced say rich countries like the United States need to do if we're going to avoid a real climate catastrophe. So that's how we want to address the climate crisis. Inequality, I say, is a life and death issue because inequality is killing us. Working class life expectancies are declining. We now have a 20-year life expectancy gap between our richest and poorest counties. They call them deaths of despair. So we call for an economic bill of rights to end poverty and economic despair. So that includes the right to a job for everybody willing and able to work, a guaranteed income above the poverty line built into the tax structure, housing for all, affordable housing for all through an expansion of public housing and universal rent control to stop the evictions that have created hundreds of thousands of homeless people, over 500,000 right now on the streets right now. We want comprehensive health care for everybody, Medicare for all, a single public payer providing all medically necessary services. And I want to build that out from national health insurance, which would do that, to a national health service where the hospitals and clinics are publicly owned. The doctors and nurses and other healthcare workers are salaried civil servants, and the whole system is controlled from the bottom up democratically by locally elected health boards that federate at the state and local level. We want everybody to have the right to an education through their whole lives, from pre-K and childcare through colleges, universities, technical schools, and continuing adult education, and finally, everybody should have a secure retirement. And we plan to double Social Security benefits to make that happen. So that deals with inequality. And then the third issue is this new nuclear arms race. All the treaties we're getting out of. Right now, the last bilateral treaty between the United States and Russia expires next February 5th. That's the New START treaty dealing with strategic arms, and there are no negotiations going on. Meanwhile, the U.S. and other countries are modernizing their strategic and tactical forces. The Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists now has their doomsday clock closer to midnight than it's ever been. So what I propose to do is nuclear 75% and start removing our troops from over 800 foreign military bases. And on the basis of those tension-reducing initiatives, go to the other nuclear powers and say, it's time to completely and mutually disarm our nuclear weapons. And we'll have the world behind us, because 2 years ago, 122 nations agreed to the text of a treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons. The International Campaign for the Abolition of Nuclear Weapons got the Nobel Peace Prize for that. And hardly anybody in this country knows about it, because none of the presidential candidates, none of the other ones, are talking about this nuclear disarmament issue and trying to make it a top campaign issue like I am. Of course, when I put these forward, we're being advised that we should step down and not run, because, we're going to spoil the election. And I say, and the Democrats say this, I say to the Democrats, no, you're spoiling the election, because since Ralph Nader ran, they pick on the Greens when the fact is the Electoral College is what has given us Republican presidents in the 21st century. They lost the popular vote, and the Electoral College put them in. So we're demanding a ranked choice national popular vote for president. And if we don't run, that issue won't be on the table. So those are some of the key issues that we're raising. And then party building. We're trying to run a national campaign with the credibility and the weight and organization that we can force our green solutions into the debate. So we're going for the ballot line in all 51 jurisdictions, 50 states in the District of Columbia. And in this coronavirus crisis, we can't go out there and physically petition. So we've put together a team of lawyers and ballot access activists to help the states appeal to their governments for relief. And that may be just because we've been on the ballot many election cycles, they should just put us on. In other states like New Jersey, I think you've asked for provision of electronic petitioning. And so we're there to help all the states get on the ballot. The other thing we're doing is trying to raise the resources we need to run a serious campaign. So I'm the only candidate in the country going for federal primary matching funds in any party. And we're now at 10 states. And New Jersey, I believe, you're at 81%. So you got $950 to go to reach the $5,000 threshold. We need 20 states to do that. And then we qualify for the matching funds, which means every dollar you contribute up to $250 will be matched by the federal government. And that will give us the resources we need to run a serious campaign. And then the other thing we're trying to do to make build the party is help Greens become organizers and not just activists. Learn the kind of things that community and union organizers know to reach the people that we need to bring into the Green Party if we're going to become a major party and force in American politics. Working class people, people of color, youth who vote in lower numbers, not because they're apathetic, because they're alienated, because they don't see options on the ballot that speak to their needs. I'm asking for your vote in this New Jersey primary, and I think together we can force these issues into the national debate and change the agenda of this country. Thank you.